Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome everyone to the Week 13 Pick Show. I'm your host Jim Sella here with Jay Dash. I was 6-2 last week. If you count those Thanksgiving Day wins, that's pulling me almost ahead of 500. Close. Not all the way there, but definitely close.
Yeah, you're 26, 29, and 3 on the season. But look who's on the come up, man. 5-0 last week, Johnny Parlay.
He's making his comeback.
Yeah,
a little too late.
Easy went 1-4. I'm actually only 2 games behind him now. He's 31, 24, and 3. I'm 29, 26, and 3. Johnny Parlay's not that far behind you, though, man. You're, like I said, you're 26, 29, and 3. He's 24, 31, and 3. So 2 games back.
Get some.
We're going to start with Easy's pick of the week, though. He's still 6-1-1 in his last 8 picks of the week and 11-5-1 in his last 17 picks of the week. And overall, he's picking well, too. Over his last 48 picks, he's 28, 17, and 3. He's going with Detroit at New Orleans. New Orleans is -6 in this game, and the over-under is 53.5.
I don't understand why it's such a big line. I know New Orleans has been putting up a lot of points this season. Detroit, not so much. But Detroit's got a pretty good defense, and New Orleans has been up and down all year. And they're, 5-6, something like that on the season. Detroit's got the better record. I think Stafford, although Breeze has the more yards and touchdowns, I think Stafford's playing better football right now. He's seeing the field better. He's spreading the ball around a lot without Calvin Johnson out there. It really confuses me as to why this Saints team is favored by so much. They've had 2 poor seasons, followed by this lackluster season. I'm taking Detroit all the way in this one. I have no clue why it's -6. It makes no sense.
Yeah, we're going spread sweep here on Detroit. And you're right. You look, they are 5-6, the New Orleans Saints. And actually, they only covered this line twice this season. At the 49ers, they blew them out. In last week versus the Rams, they blew them out. That's it. That's the only 2 times they covered this line this season, and only one of those games were at home. And then you look at the Detroit Lions, they're 6-1 in their last 7 games. And they're, like you mentioned, their defense is playing great. Over the last 5 games, 20 points or less. So Detroit there's no reason they shouldn't be able to keep up with New Orleans in this game. Now, New Orleans might come out on top. I don't even know. Detroit could definitely win this game as well. But 6 points is way too much in my opinion. You're right. Now, you mentioned before Brandon Cooks is a little upset because he's not having as big of a season as he wanted. But Michael Thomas is stepping up for New Orleans. But again, that defense for the Detroit Lions has been very good recently. And I think they can not limit the New Orleans Saints to 20 points or anything like they've been doing, because really Detroit over that stretch really hasn't played that great of an offense. They played the Vikings twice, the Jaguars, the Texans. Now they did play the Redskins. That's probably their best matchup over the past 2 months. But this Detroit defense is good enough to at least hold them under 40, I would say, and I think Detroit can keep up with them.
The Lions are 4-1 against the spread as an underdog. The Saints are 2-2 against the spread as a favorite. So that's another big reason why I'm going to take Detroit.
Yeah, like I said, spread sweep on Detroit.
All day, baby.
I went 2-3 last week. I'm 29, 26, and 3 on the season. I'm actually 104, 92, and 4 in regular season picks all time. But I'm not doing that great in my picks of the week this season. I didn't do great last season. If you listen to me outside of my personal individual picks of the week, you'll win some money. But if you listen to me with my picks of the week, you're sitting right around 500 over the past 2 seasons.
Hear me.
All right, I'm going to go with Philadelphia at Cincinnati, and it's a pick'em game. The over-under is 42.5 in this game.
I've actually seen Cincinnati favored by 1 and 1.5 in a couple places also, so you might see the line change.
I actually did see that too, but I also seen it the other way too. I seen Philadelphia as the favorite by a point, so I just decided to go with a pick'em.
Yeah, that's why it might change again here or there. Let's see. Philadelphia against the spread as an underdog is 3-4. The Bengals as a favorite are 2-3. So it looks like both teams are just begging to give this one away.
Yeah, neither one of these teams have had a great season. Philadelphia maybe a tiny bit better this year, but they suck on the road. They're 1-5 on the road, and they lost their last 5. They actually won their first road game, and it was in Chicago, one of the worst teams this season. So that Philadelphia just can't win on the road. And really, Cincinnati last week on the road in Baltimore, a big game, had a chance to win that game. They were driving at the end, and Andy Dalton fumbled to lose that game. I think it was Andy Dalton that fumbled.
Shocking.
Yeah, so they had a chance to go out and beat Baltimore, who has one of the better defenses in football. And not that Philadelphia's defense is terrible or anything, but I think Cincinnati at home is going to get a win this week. Although, I mean, they've been bad too. They have one win since week 4. They also have a tie in that span, but they're 1-5-1 over their last 7 games. So they're not playing great football. Although, look, man, the Cincinnati Bengals, you called it at the beginning of the season, they're not going to be good. But let's take a look at who they lost to. They lost at the Steelers versus the Broncos, at the Cowboys, at the Patriots, at the Giants, versus the Bills, and at the Ravens. They've had a brutal schedule. I think this is one of their easier games. Although, like I said, Philadelphia is not completely horrible. This is still one of Cincinnati's easier games this season. So I think they come out with the win.
Yeah, I think the Bengals try to get back on track this week. I think they're going to kind of find their groove without A.J. Green, and Andy Dalton will move the ball around to Tyler Boyd, try to get it to Tyler Eifert. You might even see Jeremy Hill get the ball a little bit more and see Cincinnati try to rely on the run. But I agree. I think Cincinnati at home can win this football game. Carson Wentz was playing well early in the season. Everybody was trying to call it Wentzylvania. We told people it's Pennsylvania, not Wentzylvania. Yeah, they beat the Steelers. Yeah, they beat them bad. But now we're finally seeing that they're a young team and they have some holes and they have some learning curves that they still need to get through. And that's not really a knock on Philly. It just, when you have a first-year coach, a first-year quarterback, you're not really expected to do that great. So the fact that they're stumbling a little bit doesn't surprise me too much. I think Cincinnati's really going to try to put something together toward the end of the season here to get a little bit of bright hope for next season. I didn't think they'd be this bad when I said that I thought Cincinnati would take a step back. This is even worse than I thought. Now, they have had some key injuries to some guys that didn't help, but really as a whole, this team just hasn't played well. But I think they come out and they play good enough, and I think Dalton can play a little better than Wentz, and I think the Bengals can win this football game. It's still going to be close, though. It'll be
I think so,
around
too.
a field goal, I would guess.
Yeah, I would have to believe it's going to come down to the end of the game, but just Cincinnati at home, I think, like I said, they've had some brutal competition, so I think they're going to have a good week this week.
Believe it.
We're going spread split here. You and I are saying Cincy, Johnny Parlay, and Easy are going to say Philadelphia.
Easy loves them Philly because they got Sproles.
Please believe. All right, let's go with your pick of the week. Like you mentioned, you went 3-2 last week. You're just 3 games under 500 now, and you're 6-2 in your last 8 picks. You're also 10-6 in your last 16 picks of the week, 6-5 in your picks of the week on the season. You're taking the worst game of the NFL this year. San Francisco at Chicago. Chicago's -1, and the over/under is 43.5.
Yeah, really, I kind of took this game just because I kind of wanted to have some fun with it. There were some other games that I thought had a more, an easier outcome to pick from. But I think Kaepernick's playing a little bit better. I think that the 49ers are a little bit better of a team than the Bears. The Bears really have just fallen apart under John Fox the last 2 seasons. I know they've had a rash of injuries at the quarterback position. I know Cutler's out now, and Matt Barkley's playing. And as much as I hate Colin Kaepernick, he's played a little bit better as he's played this season, and Matt Barkley's just garbage. The Bears defense, they don't really scare me. They were running the ball kind of well at the beginning of the season, but I don't think they're going to keep doing that much now with having no quarterback. Teams are going to be able to stack the box. San Francisco is going to force Barkley to beat them, and at that line, I'm going to take it all day. Unless San Francisco was favored by more than 3, I'd take San Francisco.
Yeah, I think Colin Kaepernick, like you mentioned, he's just playing a little bit better than he has been recently, and not that San Francisco's any good at all. I think they lost 10 in a row or something. They're a terrible football team. But Chicago, they got Matt Barkley at quarterback now. Alshon Jeffrey's out. Eddie Royal's not doing anything. Cameron Meredith had a bad week last week. The only thing I do like is that running back you were talking about, Jordan Howard. I do like him in the run game, and I do think he'll be able to run against San Francisco, even if they stack the box, really, because San Francisco is not that good at stopping anything defensively. But still, just because Colin Kaepernick's improving just a tiny bit each week, I'm going to go with San Francisco here. And with the rash of injuries for Chicago, I'm going to say San Francisco comes out with, their second win this season, something like that.
Kaepernick set an NFL record last week. I don't remember exactly what it was. He had the most, not the most, but he was like the only one to have 290 passing yards and like 150 rushing yards or something like that. You know, it's one of those types of stats. But he had a big game throwing the ball and running the ball, and I just think he makes enough plays on the ground with his feet that it's going to help San Francisco win this football game.
I do hate Colin Kaepernick, though. More than any
stand
player in the league, probably.
Yep.
And it was
I hate
nice.
him more than Russell Wilson now.
They had a chance to win that game last week, and he tried to run it in from like the 5-yard line and got broke. It was hilarious.
Yeah. Well, he's not too smart. We all know that.
And his fro is hideous.
Oh, he's ridiculous. It's better than the cornrows he had.
We are going spread solo here. Easy saying Chicago. The rest of us are saying San Francisco.
Easy. Come on, man.
Come on, man. All right, Johnny Parlay's pick of the week. Like I said, he went 5-0 last week. He's creeping up closer to 500. He's a little bit behind you still. He's 2-7-2 on the season in his picks of the week. But he's 7-1 in his last 8 picks. He went 2-1 on Thanksgiving as well. So over the past week, he went from 17-30-3 to 24-31-3. So he's creeping back up a little bit. And
that's how you do it.
He's going with Buffalo at Oakland. Oakland's -3, and the over-under is 49.
And who does he like, Oakland?
He likes Oakland, yes. You were going spread solo here.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Bills come out and surprise some people. I think Oakland may overlook the Bills a little bit. The Raiders are either the number 1 or 2 seed in the AFC. I can't remember exactly which one it is at the moment. I think the Raiders are a good football team. I don't know. They haven't shown anything in crunch time yet, because they've been an up-and-coming team the last few years. I think that defense is still susceptible. I think Shady McCoy and Tyrod Taylor can have a big day. I really think this is just that surprise game of the weekend, and I think Buffalo can come out and put a victory over Oakland and really put a damper on their first round or number 1 overall seed. They'll still get a first round bye if they're number 2.
Yeah, Oakland's been balling this season. Just 2 losses. They won 5 straight now, and 8 of their last 9. But you're right, their defense isn't that good, and the Bills should have a solid day. I heard some mention of Tyrod Taylor having a good week this week, and I'd believe that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I look at the Buffalo Bills. They've been streaky this season. They started out 0-2, then they won 4 straight, then they lost 3 straight, and now they're on a 2-game winning streak again. So they've been really streaky. But I go look, the 3 games they lost, they played some solid teams, the Dolphins, Patriots, and Seahawks. But their wins recently, they beat the Jaguars, the Bengals, the 49ers, and the Rams. That's their last 4 wins. So,
they have a combined win total of, 7?
Yeah, exactly. So the Bills really, they went out and beat the Patriots. You remember, they shut the Patriots out 16-0. That was the final game before Tom Brady came back. And everybody was talking about how good the Bills looked and things are looking up for them. And then they went out and won their next 2 games versus the Rams and 49ers, whatever. But really, the only win this season that's a statement win is that Patriots game. They beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and I don't think Oakland's one of those teams. I think Oakland can go out there and at least cover this 3. Maybe it's a 3-point win and you push, but I think Oakland has a better chance of just covering this line.
See, it's odd to me that Oakland is supposed to be so much of a better team, but then they're only favored by 3 when you get 3 just for being at home most of the time.
Yeah.
So I think I just feel like, Vegas is trying to bait people into betting Oakland, and for some reason they're not sure about Oakland. That's another reason why I like the Bills.
And like I mentioned, you're going spread solo. Easy and Johnny Parlay are saying Oakland with me as well. And that's Parlay's pick of the week.
It's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders soon.
Is that who's moving to Vegas?
They're still trying. Apparently, the owner might just move the team to Vegas without anybody's approval, just like his dad did when he moved them to Oakland.
Screw him, huh?
Believe it.
All right, let's move on to this last game here, and that is Carolina at Seattle. I think this is Sunday night, correct?
Yes.
And Seattle's -7 in this game. The over-under is 44.5.
I know Carolina's having a tough year compared to last year. -7. They didn't even score 7 points last week, Seattle. They only got 5 points at Tampa Bay. I know that Seattle's at home. I know they play better at home, but I think Carolina actually plays better against Seattle. Cam Newton steps up a little bit. I can't believe this line is as big as it is. And maybe they're just tricking me, and then Seattle's going to roll Carolina. But I don't know. I don't see any way Seattle covers that line at 7, especially if you tease it and take Carolina at 14. Oh, that'd be awesome. Maybe I'll do a Seattle Buffalo teaser.
Yeah, Seattle covered this line twice in their first 4 games of the season, but since then, over their last 7 games, they only covered this line once. That was 2 weeks ago versus the Eagles. They won 26-15. And then you look at the Carolina Panthers, man. Yeah, they're not a great team this season. They had a 4-game losing streak at one point, but over their last 7 games, they haven't lost by more than 3 points. In fact, all 4 of their losses over these 7 games, they're 3-4 in their last 7. All 4 losses were by 3 points. So I think Carolina can go in there and keep this game close at least.
Get it. The Panthers have just fallen on some bad luck games too, and I don't like to, I always say you make your own luck, but sometimes the ball bounces one way, and last year it seemed to be bouncing their way every time, and they went 15-1 and made it to the Super Bowl. So that's hard to do again. You play a lot of games making it to the Super Bowl. They've had some injuries. I know Luke Kuechly's out, so that may be a big factor in this line. But I still think even with him out and their defense struggling a little bit compared to last year, I think Cam Newton can do enough to keep the game closer to 7 points. Like I said, Seattle only scored 5 last week. Even if Carolina scores nothing and Seattle gets 5, they're not covering this line. So block them.
The Carolina Panthers only won 1 road game this season, but they haven't lost by more than 3 points on the road outside of the Atlanta Falcons. They lost 48-33. Outside of that, every loss has been by 3 or less. So Carolina, they're not winning games on the road, but they're also not getting blown out on the road. And like I mentioned, Seattle, yeah, they have a couple double-digit wins this season, but it's nothing like over the past couple years where they were blowing teams out and shutting teams down to just 10 points or less per game defensively. And really, yeah, Seattle's offense looked great over a 3-game stretch there. But then last week, they went into Tampa Bay. And I think, did you take Seattle with us last week? Or did you take Tampa Bay? I think
I took Seattle.
Yeah, we all took Seattle outside of Johnny Parlay, I believe. And
yeah,
that game looked horrible for Seattle. I don't know what happened in that game. But they went from turning it around offensively to completely falling apart in one game.
Yeah, garbage. My bold prediction of the week, I would take a Giants-Panthers parlay. A Giants-Panthers teaser.
Well, teaser. I see that. I actually said the Steelers are going to cover that 6. I said the score would be 33-26.
Yeah, but I don't think the Steelers would cover 13.
Nah, I don't think so either. But everybody is taking Carolina in this game. It is a spread sweep.
Need it.
Please believe. You got to go 4-1, man, and you're back at 500.
I need it. What picks do I have the same as parlay? Just Carolina.
Cincy and Philly are different. Buffalo and Oakland are different. So you have 3 of the same picks.
Garbage.
Hey, he's 5-0. Over last week, you went 5-0, 7-1 over his last 8. Man, who knows? In the last segment, you said go completely against parlay, and I said go with easy. Easy goes 1-4. Parlay goes 5-0. So if people listen to what we said, they lost money.
Yeah, sorry guys. It's a good thing nobody listens to us.
Believe it.
Anything else for the fans?
Nah, man.
All right, fans, questions, comments, any games you would like to hear us talk about in the future, let us know on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Hit me up on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out that Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Keep coming back to YouTube and click and subscribe. We're about to go over 5 million YouTube subscribers. I wish.